Good evening, those of you who are on the African side of the world, and good morning to those in New Zealand on the New Zealand side of the world, and good afternoon to those of you who are in the middle of where the sunshine is at the moment. Welcome to the Network Migration Services webinar on Australia and New Zealand. We've got about, we're nearly up to 200 people listening to us tonight. So welcome to all of you, wherever you are. I'm sorry if you're load shedding in South Africa at the moment. Some of you will be. But I just wanted to say, first of all, a thank you to Ruan for organising tonight, as he always does. And everybody that is registered for tonight's webinar will actually be emailed the webinar tomorrow. So you'll be able to watch it in your own time. And if you do miss something because of load shedding or because of maybe children or dinners or whatever, you will be able to have a watch of the webinar at your own pace, because Ruan will email it to you tomorrow. Hi, Tia Marie. Tia Marie is joining us tonight. Tia is our South African office manager, soon to be relocating herself, in fact, to New Zealand. So thank you, Tia, as always, for joining us and the support. We might have the New Zealand team on tonight. We should possibly have Peter Lemmer joining us shortly regarding, of course, being able to talk about the job search processes in New Zealand. We may even have Des on board. Des is also a provisionally licensed LIA and is our operations manager for the whole organisation, but also based in New Zealand. Desiree actually immigrated must be about 3 months ago now. And then hi, Chanel. Chanel is joining us tonight as well. Chanel is one of our senior file managers and growing very quickly within the company, and we're really happy to have a person like Chanel on board. So hi to you as well. So welcome to all of you tonight. Normally I take about an hour to do these webinars. I sort of tend to repeat myself every 3 weeks, talking about the same things. I'm going to take a little bit of a different tack tonight. I'm going to be showing you rules, regulations, points, processes, procedures, etc. Feel free to put a question into the chat room if you need one. I don't know why my thing went bigger, but it did. Anyway, feel free to put a question in the chat room if you've got one. If it's an immigration question and I do not see it, the only one that can answer that is Desiree. I'm not sure if Desiree's on board, but if she is, she'll be answering the immigration questions. If not, somebody like Tia will respond to you and just say, listen, put it in an email to me. My email address, in fact, all our email addresses are our first names at networkmigration.com. So it's pretty simple. Andrew at networkmigration.com, Liz at networkmigration.com, Tia Marie at networkmigration.com. So you've really just got to remember at networkmigration.com. But any immigration advice, especially clearly in an initial meeting, must come from a licensed or provisionally licensed advisor. I'm a fully licensed advisor. I've been so since licensing became mandatory way back, 10, 11, 12 years ago now, 13 years ago. And Desiree is our provisionally licensed advisor, and as I mentioned, also an ops manager. And Desiree and I are working together. I'm actually supervising Des, although quite frankly, she is absolutely brilliant. She doesn't necessarily need my supervision, but it's part and parcel of getting her license that I supervise her while she's going through her training. So welcome to all of you tonight. As I said, if you've got some questions, either put them in the chat room. If it's immigration advice, either Des or I will answer them. I might not get to them, so just email me directly, Andrew at networkmigration.com. And as Ruan put in earlier, if you want to be assessed, some of you already have. Hi, Eladir. I actually assessed you today. Atlagang. Also assessed you today, so welcome tonight. I just remember the names. Forbes, hi mate. But if you want to be assessed, just email me. Just send me an email. It's all free. The assessments are free. The meetings are free. If you want to have a face-to-face in our offices here in Johannesburg, clearly if you're in New Zealand and you want a face-to-face with Desiree, you can also do that. But other than that, we've got Zoom, we've got Teams, we've got Skype, we've got Google Meet. We've got pretty much every format that we can speak to you on, irrelevant of where you are in the world. I've been doing this for 30 years, guys. I joined this company back in 1993. It launched in 1989. I joined the company in 1993 and I bought it in 1996. We've done, 17,000 families over that many years. The first sort of probably until about 2010, 11, 12, Most of our clients were from South Africa and frankly still are, because of course we're based here. But with the advent of technology today, we can literally do an application from anyone, anywhere on this planet. So we've got clients as far away as China and the Ukraine and Ireland and Canada, and the Philippines and Vietnam, etc. It really doesn't matter. Most of what we do is electronic. So as long as you've got a contact detail, i.e., that we can contact you on an email account, and of course an international phone number that we can call you on if necessary, then we are able to deal with everyone and anyone, no matter where you are in the world. Just a quick thank you to some of our partners. They're on our first page here. We are literally a one-stop shop. I welcome Peter. Peter will be talking to us in 5 or 10 minutes from now. He's our New Zealand MD. Peter's been in New Zealand now for 7 years with his family. I'm really looking forward to seeing them soon. I haven't seen them since pre-COVID, but I'm traveling over there to see the New Zealand team in December. So looking forward to seeing Peter and the team. But yes, thank you to our partners from Apex in New Zealand to, Flight Centre in South Africa. I mean, when it comes to relocating you, we are literally a one-stop shop. We have 3 main divisions. One division is basically run by me and my team, and that's the visa application processes. Clearly, myself and my team, we'll put together the applications, we will prepare them, and we will submit them to the relevant authorities. And that's every stage of an application. Even if you need your skills assessed, we'll do that for you. If you need to be registered with councils like electrical boards or teachers boards, we will do that for you. And that just brings me to a point about using an immigration agent. Gosh, guys, there's hundreds of them. There's hundreds of them out there. And some of them are extremely good at what they do. And frankly, some of them aren't. That's pretty much with any industry. And I'm certainly not going to spend tonight telling you who you should and shouldn't use. But what I am going to warn you of is you'll notice on the first slide here, MARA registration number and IAA registration number. When you use a licensed immigration advisor, your money is held in a trust account. And they can only draw down on those monies that are held as and when we achieve certain goals through your migration process. So if you're not using a registered agent, you have no comeback. So please, hi Desiree, morning to you, Des, welcome. As I said, guys, Desiree will be answering any immigration questions you've got because she is a provisionally licensed LIA. But the bottom line is this: I'm well aware of the companies that are allowing non-licensed advisors to give advice. There's one big one in South Africa here, I'm not going to mention the name. They just break the rules all the time, left, right, and centre. And they leave themselves very open for attack, I suppose, for want of a better term, because what they're doing is against the law. They're not allowed to give immigration advice from a non-licensed advisor, especially, of course, at that initial meeting. That initial meeting should be with somebody who, bottom line, knows what they're talking about, is regulated, and we have to do continuing professional development every year. In other words, we must maintain our licenses every year. And as you can see by my New Zealand license, IAA license, that's been 14 odd years now. So every year we are scrutinised and we are checked by our governing body. MARA is Australia. Be careful with Australia, because if you're onshore, in other words, you've got license, officers in Australia, you have to be licensed. But if you're offshore, you don't. And, they've been talking about changing that for years and they haven't. So all I'm saying to you guys is whatever you do, clearly you're going to shop around. You're going to have a look at the types of organisations out there and just check who's the licensed advisor and, of course, initially, who is giving you that immigration advice. If that person is not licensed, they're breaking the law. It's as simple as that. Okay, well, they're definitely breaking the law for New Zealand. If they're onshore for Australia, they are, but if they're offshore, they're not. So just be careful. It's so easy to check us out. You can take our registration numbers, put them onto the IAA websites or the MARA websites and, type in my name and search, and you'll find that we are renewing our licenses every year. I want you to be taking screenshots of what I'm going to be showing you today, because I'm not going to talk about the in-depth, ins and outs of, the documentation requirements and how you'll score those points and what you need to score in English if you're going to either country, et cetera, et cetera. But I will easily be able to do that in a one-on-one consultation. The other thing I want you to be aware of is clearly, especially coming from countries on the African continent, our currencies are not generally that strong. You're going to countries, Australia and New Zealand, which have a dollar-based economy. So this is not a cheap exercise, guys. I mean, doing it on your own, it's still not a cheap exercise. But if you're going to use an agent, clearly you've got agency fees. And when you send me your information, just on your CVs, I don't need to know. I need to see your CVs. I don't care what they look like at the moment. They're going nowhere other than me. So I'll be assessing you personally, and Desiree and I will do the assessments. But just make sure that on a separate paragraph, I understand your family structure. So you might email me, yours and your spouse's CVs. And if you're in a relationship, do send me both CVs. You might think your spouse might not add to anything, but sometimes they do, and you'd be quite surprised. So if you can, send me both the CVs, and also just in a one-line, a paragraph, Andrew, hi, I'm 42, my wife is 36. We have 2 young children, 2 and 6. And we're looking at Australia, or we're looking at New Zealand, or whatever. I'll clearly tell you straight up whether you qualify. I'll be sending you what we call a pathway to residency document, which in the very first document I send you is the processes, what to do, when to do it, and how much it costs when you're doing it. The second document I always attach to my emails when I'm sending out pathways is our quote for our services. And that quote takes you all the way through, of course, until you're living and working in the country of your choice. And then, of course, the third document is what we call an assessment form, which is really just if you're getting cracking, you'd fill in the assessment form, pick a payment plan, send it back to us, we'd send you the agreement, and then we're up and running. And the last one is the way NMS works, Network Migration Services work. We have 25 team members, the 3 divisions split between the 2 countries. We have 5 people working remotely. We even have Caitlin Barclay working in the UK. Caitlin's worked for us for a few years and is outstanding. And when she immigrated last year, we didn't want to lose her. So we didn't. With technology today, of course, Caitlin is a very integral part of our team. So, hi, Liz. And Liz is also there. Liz is our HR manager. Liz is heavily involved in the CV writing and, of course, pointing people in the right direction when it comes to jobs, et cetera, et cetera. Liz and Rose and Tia work very, very closely together with that. So we've got a very, very talented team, ladies and gentlemen. From the get-go, I'd just like to say that this is an extremely important exercise. It's an expensive one, I've already mentioned. So whoever you use, make sure you understand what you're paying for. There are agencies out there, for example, that will send you the basic information. Then you might be an electrician, then they'll say, right, well, please pay us our money. And by the way, there's the link. Go and register yourself. Okay, I'm not putting them down. That's the business model. However, we will register you. So we will do the work to register you and or do the assessments required all the way through the process. We just don't hand you links. I mean, there might be a link here and there for an English test or whatever. Of course there will be. But we are going to get down and dirty with you. We're going to hold your hand through this entire process. So I'm going to do Australia first. It's going to be a very quick 5-minute one. Australia, we've talked about network migration, clearly been around for 30-odd years, thousands of families. I'm going to do Australia first, then New Zealand. We talked about our relocation partners. Rose will be able to bring you up to date with who they are and what they do. But it's from everything from opening a bank account to hopping on a plane, from getting a mortgage when you land through companies like Apex, through to taking your furry friends with you for companies like Animal Travel. So, as I said, one-stop shop. That's not me. That's me a few years ago. Okay, and we're also members of the New Zealand Association for Migration and Investment and the Migration Institute of Australia, which are also bodies which help us with information, etc. So Australia, beautiful country. I lived there for 10 years. So my history, I'm early 60s or mid 60s. I lived in New Zealand for 20 years, and I moved to Australia for plus minus 10 years. And then I came to South Africa in 1990 on a contract with a publishing house. And then when my contract ran out, I joined Network Migration Services. So I've been doing this for a long, long time, 30 years as of April this year. Australia's a beautiful country. I really enjoyed living there. Very big, of course, very vast, very diverse in different cities, but also very picky on who they allow in. Australia's immigration intake starts on July 1st to June 30th, which is their tax year. Visa categories, I'm going to be mainly talking about skilled migrant for both New Zealand and Australia tonight, but there's not a visa that we can't do. Student, family, business, work, investment, spousal, parent, prospective marriage, etc. There's just not a visa that we cannot help you with, from a general visitor's visa through to, of course, a complicated business plan and investment visa. So again, please ask us. I'm not going to concentrate on parents or spouses or those types of visas tonight, or student visas, etc. I will be able to talk to you about those on a one-on-one. So feel free to make those one-on-one appointments with me. Just send me an email, andrew@networkmigration.com. Right, take a screenshot of that page. This is the the scores that you can obtain as and when you prepare and submit an application to the Department of Home Affairs in Australia. You'll notice on the top left your age points. The cutoff age for a skilled migrant application is 45. So if you're going to do an application into Australia, unless it's under the DARMA agreement, which we don't really do a lot of because they're extremely difficult to find sponsors on the DARMA agreement, then you need to be under 45 years old. Qualification points, 9 out of 10 of you, or 95 out of 100 of you, will need to have a qualification. And I'm not talking a certificate here and a certificate there. I'm talking, as you're looking, a doctorate, a bachelor's, diploma, or a trade. Every Australian skilled migrant application has to lodge under a specific ANSCO code. So does New Zealand. ANSCO stands for the Australia, New Zealand Standard Classification of Your Occupation. And ANSCOs are clearly for Australia and New Zealand. And in Australia, you've got over 30 assessing authorities, and you cannot load a skilled migrant application without being pre-assessed by the relevant authority. And most of the time, 95% of the time, they're going to want you to have a qualification. There are your points for English on that first page as well, 0, 10, or 20, and that depends on whether you get competent, proficient, or superior. English is a mandatory requirement for most of the applications into Australia. And frankly, most of you, if you're a main applicant, will probably need to get superior. Now, you might be sitting in Canada at the moment or UK and saying, well, I'm exempt from the English test, and you're quite right, you are. But being exempt means you don't get the points, and you just might need those points. Bottom right, points for skilled employment. And the employment is 3 out of 5, 5 out of 8, or 8 out of 10 years. And the employment you're claiming must, of course, be related to your ANSCO code, must be related to your occupation and qualification. Okay. You get bonus points, of course, if your spouse has a qualification, and also if your spouse sits the English test, and you also get bonus points for regional migration and state migration. So going to the next slide. Oh, shit, excuse me, my apologies. So you can see bonus points here. If your spouse has got a qualification, you can, and it's on the same skills list as you can potentially claim 5 points. You can claim 5 points for the English. You can claim 5 points if you are single and going on your own with no children and spouse. You can claim 10 points for that, actually. And then, of course, there's the points for state nomination. So the 3 types of visas you're going to be looking at on a skilled migrant application are a subclass 189. That is if your qualifications and occupation is on the medium and long-term strategic skills shortage list. Quite a mouthful, but that's what it is. Medium and long-term strategic skills shortage list. About 180 occupations on that list. You need to be on that list and have the relevant qualification in order to be able to submit a 189. And then you've got the state list. There's 8 states and territories in Australia. They all have their state lists allocated to them by the Department of Home Affairs. In other words, federal government allocates to DHA the amount of people that the states can actually allocate or sponsor into their states. You get 5 bonus points for a subclass 190, where you sign a declaration that says you're happy to live and work in the sponsoring state for a period of 2 years. And then you've got your brand new visa, which came out in November 2019, just before COVID, which is called subclass 491, where you get 15 bonus points for. The bottom line with that visa is it's granted to you for 5 years. You still get free schooling and healthcare. But for 3 years, the main applicant must earn over $70,000 a year. And for those 3 years, you cannot live or work in Sydney, Brisbane, or Melbourne. You can live anywhere else in Australia except those 3 major cities. So again, I'll be sending you those processes as and when you send me the CV. and I'll be pointing you in the right direction. Now, just before I stop Australia, so for both countries, if you come on board with us, you're allocated a team member. We call them file managers. And within a week of coming on board, you'll receive what we call a starter pack, which is a documentation checklist. And clearly, if it's Australia or New Zealand, it's designed around you, who you are, single, married, children, your age, blah, 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 qualifications or not, etc., etc. And then you supply us with all the documentation. In fact, you load all your documentation into our back-end CRM system. We give you a login code. And then, of course, every time you log in, of course, your file manager and myself are notified that you've uploaded documents so we can then work on them. Now, when it comes to Australia, most of you will take approximately 12 to 15 months to achieve your goal, which would be start the process, end the process. Might take longer because it depends on when you're selected, of course. Federal government only selects every 12 weeks. The next selection's end of October, and then end of January, then end of April, and so on. So there's 4 selections a year, and that's pretty much off the 189 skills list. And then, of course, the states select when they're allocated, and they're being allocated as we speak. So they do get, often they get multiple allocations, so they might get 1 or 2 allocations per year, normally about 2. And what we have noticed is since they've started receiving their allocations, the states are getting less allocations this year. For example, South Australia intake last year were given 8,500 application spots by by federal government, and this year they'll be given 2,500. So it's quite a difference. So the bottom line is you need to monitor, or clearly if you're our client, we'll be monitoring the states as and when you come on those particular states, and we'll be letting you know should we lodge or not. And I can give you an example. About 2 years ago, no, it was pre-COVID actually, about 4 years ago, Queensland opened at 9 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, and they closed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's how many applications they had in that day. So you've got to be application ready, and to do that 99 times out of 100, you need to sit your English test and you have to have your skills assessed. Okay? And then you're pretty much ready that we can load the application. We need to be on 65 points minimum to load it, but that doesn't mean you'll be selected because the selections fluctuate. So, for example, the last selections criteria, motor mechanics were all selected, well, most tradesmen were selected on 65, but software engineers and accountants were selected on 80 and 85. So you might think, well, I fly and I'm sitting on 70, I'm an accountant, but you could end up sitting in the pool for 2 years because when you load yourself into the pooling system, it's called Skill Select. If you're not selected, you can stay there for 2 years. And then, of course, you just load yourself again because when you load, you're not actually paying anything. You're putting yourself into the pool and you're sticking your hand up and saying, pick me. I'm here. I'm ready. Pick me. But I will give you a very good idea about whether you're going to be picked or not based on, of course, your points. The more points you get, clearly, the more opportunity you have to be picked. Under the old days, it was pretty much if you were on 60 points, and it was 60 in the old days, all right, you got in. Simple. Everybody's 60 and above, but things have changed. The world's getting smaller. So if you do want to go to these countries, whether you use us or not, ladies and gentlemen, is irrelevant. All right, but at least get all the information off me because it's free. And then if you decide to engage our services, we'd clearly be honoured to assist you. And if you don't, we'd wish you all the very, very best anyway. So that's Australia. As I said, about a year, maybe 12, 15 months. Unless you're a teacher or a healthcare worker, then you're going to be fast-tracked. Teachers and healthcare workers are literally processed straight away. You've still got to get your skills assessed. You've still got to register if needed. You've still got to set the English test, etc. But if you're in that field, most of you will be selected immediately. So you literally could be in Australia within 3 to 6 months. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about New Zealand now, Aotearoa, land of the long white cloud. And for those of you who don't know it, yippee yay, in 17 days' time, we have our New Zealand general election. And I'm saying yippee yay because I'm so excited to see what happens in that general election. I know who I want to win it, and I know half the country wants to win it because of no political discussions tonight, but I just know who will win it and why they'll win it, and when they win it, migration is going to take a step forward as opposed to not so much a step backwards, but certainly some of the things that have been happening in the past few years have been a little bit strange when it comes to decisions being made by relevant parties. Right, so I'm going to be inviting Peter, New Zealand, guys, I'm biased, of course, bar the fact that good luck in the World Cup rugby and everyone that's watching. We play Italy on Friday, so good luck to us on Friday. Again, every type of visa on the planet. There's really not one we can't do. We have offices in New Zealand, in Auckland, with Peter and Des leading our team over there. And I'm going to be introducing Peter in about 1 minute. But I want you to listen to something first, please. It's all about the new accredited employer work visa process, which came out. It's been talked about for years, but officially came out last August, September. So just have a listen to this, and then I'm going to invite Peter in.
Where no New Zealanders are available for a job, employers can hire a skilled migrant worker using the Accredited Employer Work Visa, or AEWV. Before inviting a migrant to apply for an AEWV, employers must become accredited with Immigration New Zealand and complete a job check for the role they want to fill. This means migrant workers can have more confidence about the role they're coming to New Zealand for. To gain accreditation, an employer must be a genuine business in a good financial position and have no recent history of breaching employment or immigration law or business standards. The job check confirms that the job pays the market rate, and the terms and conditions of the contract comply with New Zealand's employment standards. Before applying for a job check, employers need to advertise most roles to prove there are no New Zealand citizens or residents available for the job. After an employer's job check has been approved, you will be sent an email containing a link and a job check token. You can access the online portal and apply for your visa. The application process is all done online, where you will fill in the details and upload supporting documentation. Immigration New Zealand check if you meet the requirements for the AEWV and that you have the skills and experience the employer is seeking. Once you are employed, your employer must provide you with information to help you settle into life in New Zealand and to give you time to complete Employment New Zealand's online modules on employment rights while you are at work. The AEWV is designed to ensure only good employers can hire migrant workers and helps prevent migrant exploitation. More information about the AEWV is on our website.
Just thank you. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Andrew. Keeping well?
Yeah, good. In fact, funnily enough, not funnily enough, it's raining. I mean, it hasn't rained for 4 months. It's rained, and it's really quite chilly today in Joburg, which is weird because it was like 30 degrees yesterday. But you're well aware of Johannesburg weather, mate, because you lived here for many, many, many years. So yeah. I just on before you chat, Peter, you heard on that last sentence, ladies and gentlemen, about migrant exploitation. With all due respect, another reason that you should be looking at using an agent, just be careful again. I mean, there's a lot of that going on at the moment, especially with Asian countries. They're coming into New Zealand on the promise of a job offer. And then, of course, it's the promise and it's just not happening. And immigration, INZ are jumping on any misinformation, misrepresentation, whatever. So for God's sake, please just make sure that you're feeling comfortable with the people that you're going to be spending your hard-earned money with. Peter, stage is yours, mate.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. Hi, welcome, everybody. We, the New Zealand team, will be taking you through this journey of just assisting you on how to network and market yourself and brand yourself in New Zealand before you come to New Zealand, if you need to come to New Zealand on job search trip. Of course, for New Zealand, which is different to Australia, you need that job offer before you can get your work visa. So it's critical to do your preparation before the time and not just to keep applying for jobs and getting rejected, which is a very negative process. Our process is a very positive and upbuilding process, making you realize that this whole journey can work. Now, our whole process consists of two portions. One is we do a job search training, which we spend hours with you online, face-to-face, chatting to you, assisting you, helping you and guiding you. And then we also do relocation assistance, where we send you checklists before you leave South Africa or the country of choice and come to New Zealand. We also give you a checklist how to wrap up your life. And then when we have a meeting with you before the time, before you leave, and then when you land, we also have a meeting with you to help you settle in. So those are the two parts of our process. But of course, the most important part is the job search training. So it is critical that you start connecting with people, meeting people at a lot of different levels before you come to New Zealand, to get yourself confident in the culture of New Zealand, how the businesses work, just how companies' cultures are when you apply for jobs within the companies. Now, we use a method called the 4-pillar approach. And the 4 pillars is, the first pillar is that we use LinkedIn as a business tool, and we help you set up your LinkedIn profile to look professional. Now, I know that in South Africa, LinkedIn is a job search tool, really. But here it's used as a business tool. I call it the Facebook of business in New Zealand. Everybody's constantly on LinkedIn in the daytime. They're learning from it. It's incredibly powerful tool. If you connect to the right LinkedIn pages, you can learn in your job. You can learn about the latest technologies. So people here use LinkedIn on a daily basis. And we teach you how to set up a really professional LinkedIn profile. Pillar 2 then goes about teaching you to connect with people at 5 different levels, not just 1 or 2 levels, not the HR manager and the hiring manager. We teach you 5 different levels of connection, which really helps you go a lot further in the process. The third pillar we train you on is how to market and brand yourself. We teach you quite a few tricks in LinkedIn, which very few people know of how to get your name out there, to market yourself, brand yourself, and get some recognition in the market. And then the 4th pillar that we do is really the most important part, is the interview and culture training. You need to understand the difference between the cultures. If you break down those barriers of the understanding of culture, I think you have a much better chance of getting that job offer. And we can even do a little mock interview with you. We send you lots of questions to answer and how to answer the questions, and how the interview is basically structured differently to a South African or overseas European type interview process. You ask, how successful is it, this training? Well, I've seen clients there and then, while we're busy training them, somebody that they've invited connects with them, starts talking to them, and I guide them through the process, and some of them have resulted in interviews, and most of those have resulted in job offers. Some people have to carry on networking, but we make sure that before you come to New Zealand on a, let's say, job search trip, that you at least have 5 to 10 meetings set up with people in New Zealand already before you land. So we give you the confidence to land, to know that at least somebody's interested in meeting with you and chatting to you, and will be able to network with you in helping find jobs. We also can connect you with recruiters who we've built relationships with, if they're in your field. Just notice that if we have a recruiter in that field, we don't know every single recruiter. We don't have connections in every single field in the country, but construction jobs, medical jobs, teaching jobs, we have a few recruiters who accept our clients. They know that you are visa ready. They know that you're working with us, and they then pay better and more attention to you, at least. How successful? Well, after the COVID pandemic ended, August last year, the 160 people who we'd been training throughout the COVID period got jobs within 3 months. Now, that is quite a large amount of people, and it's just because they sat and did their homework. They got noticed in the market. So as the borders opened, the company said, I know this person from South Africa. I know this person from network migration. We'd like to work with that person. Now, this whole journey is sort of quite a very stressful journey. And we can also, what Andrew and I've structured is that you can start the job search training. And if you then gain faith in the job search training and realize there's a very good potential getting work, you can also then sign up, and you can do the job search training separately. We charge you separately for the job search. And if you sign up with Andrew then afterwards to do the visa process, then we subtract that job search training from the visa fees portion. If you sign up from Andrew firstly, right up front, the visa, the job search is included in the pricing. But if you want a separate quote just for job search training, and you can use this anywhere in the world, really, if you want to find a job in your own country, the training we do is generic and is really just to help you in anywhere in the world to find work. This training, we can quote you separately just for the job search training. You can email me at peter@networkmigration.com, and I'll put it in the conversation bar there. Thanks, Andrew. Any questions?
Well, no, thanks, Peter. I mean, you're looking nice and bright and cheery. Is it? It's daylight saving there now, right?
Yeah. It's now, at least I can wake up 1 hour later.
At least you can wake up not at 5 a.m. At least you can get up at about 6 now anyway. So, So thanks for that, mate, as always. As you know, I'm joining you in a couple of months. So really looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing you and the team. And, just having a little bit of a celebration because we haven't seen each other for, it must be about nearly 4 years now. Anyway, so looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing how your children have grown and et cetera, because they're young adults now, both of them. So I hope I still recognise them. But very much looking forward to being there. And as Peter mentioned, guys, in fact, we've had 2 people this week that Peter trained on job training, and then they've just contacted me and said, listen, we've enjoyed this exercise so much, we'd now like to go the full hog, please. So then we take the money that, of course, Peter charges for the job search training off our total fee. So the bottom line is, whatever happens, if you're using Network Migration, you're going to be using Peter. Whether you start using him first and then come to us, or of course, and then go on your own, which you can comfortably do, or of course, you start using me and therefore you'll be using Peter. We hand you over to Peter and his team pretty much straight away because the job search training is vital. It's as simple as that. And Peter's really developed this over the past 7 years. So it's not as though something that's just sprung up. And we're quite frankly, and I'm saying this obnoxiously, I know, but we know we've got the best job search processes and training on the planet. So do contact Peter if you want that information. Thanks, my friend. You have a good day, eh? We'll chat in 12 hours.
Yeah, everybody. God bless. Bye.
Okay, mate. Bye. Okay, we're just going to take Peter off there. Remove attendee. Yes. Okay, so while Peter is going, there he is. Let's just continue with the slides. I just want to get into the chat room again. I'm sure that Des has been good on you, Des. Thank you. There, Peter. Thanks, Tia. Right. Okay, good. Let's go. Right. New Zealand is based on the accredited employer work visa. Okay, so accredited employer work visa is based on your occupational code, and you can see them there. ANSCOs 1s to 3s and 4s to 5, and based on you receiving the minimum salary for those particular occupational codes. As and when you send me the CVs, I'll clearly send you what your minimum salaries are. Most of you will be an ANSCO 1 to 3, which means that for the visa to be granted, you must earn a minimum of $29.66 an hour, which is $62,000 odd a year, just under. And then that visa will be granted to you effective as of the 9th of October, which is 12 days away. It'll be granted to you for 5 years. It was 3 years. It'll now be granted to you for 5 years. And then, of course, your ANSCOs 4s and 5s, which are generally lower skilled occupations, must be paid higher. So they're extremely difficult to get, those high-paying jobs, because, of course, if you're an ANSCO 4 or 5, you don't necessarily have a qualification. Doesn't mean you can't go, but for you to have the visa, which has the same validity, you'd need to be earning $44.49 an hour, which is quite high. All right, so you've got a few pathways to residency. Everybody keeps now talking about the green list, and gosh, I'm not on the green list. I had somebody yesterday, I can't remember her occupation now, but she said, I'm not on the green list. Does that mean I can't go? Well, no, that's not the case at all. You've got different residency pathways under the simplified skilled migrant category. And the bee's knees, I suppose, is if you are on green list tier 1 or green list tier 2. So hopefully you're taking screenshots of these particular pages by way of your phone, or if you're on your laptop, just take a screenshot. There is some occupations that are on the green list. Okay. Tier 1. There are more occupations that are being added as we speak to the green list. They already have. and take a screen. This is mostly healthcare, as you can see. Okay. And this one, sorry, I put it on the wrong page. These are going to be added as of March 2004. 14, not 4. 2024. Sorry, guys, it's been a long day. As you can see, from everything from, your welders, your fitters, your metal fabricators, which are boiler makers, of course, metal machinists, panel beaters, vehicle painters, etc., etc. So you've probably now got, I'd imagine there'd be about 120, 130 occupations on Green List Tier 1. Now, Green List Tier 1 is you have an option to go straight to residency. If you get a job offer, it's all based on a job offer, ladies and gentlemen. Every one of these visas for the main applicant is based on a job offer. So if you get a job offer on Green List Tier 1, you can either apply for your work visa, and then you get your 5-year work visa and then do your residency onshore, or you can lodge your residency straight away. It's processed as quick, okay, which is extremely rare, and a lot of our clients are doing it, and they're getting their residency in a month. So if you're on Green List Tier 1 and the job offer, your qualifications, which are essential, clearly, and on Green List they are, and your job offer must marry up to what the Green List Tier 1 requirements are, then you can lodge a residency application straight away, or a work visa. I will clearly run this through this with you when I'm doing your consultations and emailing you. And then, of course, you've got Green List Tier 2. My apology. No, hold on. I should be going the other way. And we're not. We're going the wrong way. Why are we going backwards? Okay, my apologies, everyone. So I was using the mouse. So let's just go here again. Green List Tier 1, Green List Tier 2. Now, Green List Tier 2 is the old work to residence visa. You're granted a 5-year work visa, and after 2 years of working in your field, you can then lodge your residency. So you're working in New Zealand for those 2 years. Strong rumours that the Green List Tier 2 might change to be incorporated on Green List Tier 1. Watch this space. We'll keep you informed, okay? And then Green List Tier 2, roles added as of March this year, okay? So you'll notice motor mechanics are here, for example. Diesel mechanics as well, drain layers, gas fitters, civil construction, coming back here, automotive electricians, farmers, teachers, etc., etc. Primary school teachers are also on there now, etc., etc. So Green List Tier 1, Green List Tier 2 means you've got a guaranteed pathway to residency subject to getting the offer at the right, with an accredited employer, of course, at the right salary level or the minimum salary level or more. And then you've got occupations that are exempt from the minimum wage. So, for example, you'll notice you've got a barrister there, or a hotel motel receptionist, or a bar attendant, or you've got a personal care assistant. So this visa is granted to you for 2 years, and then you have to leave the country for 12 months. Now, frankly, I believe that's insane. And, I know there are possibly people listening to me tonight that don't agree with that, but I also think that will possibly change. Working for 2 years and then leaving the country for 12 months? I mean, give me a break. All right, so I'm reasonably confident this type of thing will possibly change. But if it doesn't, then, and you're a barrister or a waiter or a trekking guide, you can go to New Zealand, get a job as a waiter. After 2 years, you've got to leave for 12 months. As I said, I do believe that'll change. But as you can see, the minimum hourly rate is a little bit less than the $29.66. So keep that in your mind. And then, hold on, I'm supposed to be doing this one, slideshow. My apologies. My apologies, Ruan. You should have told me that. I'm sure you did. And then it's all based on incomes. This is just a bit of a history on what the income, you'll see back in January 2018, it was $24.29. It's now on $29.66. And in February next year, gosh, it goes to $31.33, I think, off the top of my head. Tia, Liz, Des, you might want to put that in the chat room. I'm sorry, I actually should have added that to the slide from February. Ruan, if you remember, we can do from February 2024. We can add that to the slides, but I'm pretty sure it's $31.33 an hour. But one of the team will probably put that in the chat room shortly. Okay, and again, that's minimum wage. Right, so you've got Green List Tier 1 pathway to residency. You've got Green List Tier 2 pathway to residency. You've got then qualification and points and or salary pathway to residency. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need a qualification to get into New Zealand. What you need is consistent work experience. So you might be sitting there thinking, well, hold on, I'm an accountant, but I've never actually done a degree. Does that mean I can't get in? Probably a wrong one to choose. I'm a motor mechanic, but I've never done a trade test. All right, will I get in? Yes, you will, as long as you've got 3 years as a motor mechanic. Okay, because it's an ANSCO skill level 3. So if you don't have a qualification, thank you, Desiree, $31.61 an hour. My apologies to 30 cents, wrong. So $31.61 as of February 2024. But if you are, I mean, frankly, you should be looking at minimum wages anyway. But if you don't have a qualification, please still send me the CV. There's probably and hopefully possibly a way that you can still go to New Zealand and become residents. Now, one way, of course, is through the new simplified skilled migrant category, which comes into effect on the 9th of October, which is 9 and 3 is 12 days away. Okay, so you will get points if you do have a qualification. There are the points in front of you there. I'm assuming you've already taken the screenshot there, okay? You will get points for working in New Zealand. 1 point for 1 year, 2 points for 2 years, and 3 points for 3 years. So if you've got a qualification, you'll get a 5-year visa. You work in New Zealand, and it's a degree, standard degree, you'll get 3 points. You work in New Zealand for 3 years, there's your 6 points. To qualify for residency, you need 6 points. Okay? But you'll also get points granted to you for income. If you're earning 1.5 times the minimum wage, which we've already shown you, which is $44.49 an hour, you can claim 3 points. So you might not have a qualification, but you've been working in New Zealand for 3 years, earning $92,000 and above. So you get 3 points for the 3 years of work and 3 points because every year you've worked, you've earned 1.5 times the minimum wage. If you get 2 times the minimum wage, you get 4 points straight up. If you get 3 times the minimum wage, you get 6 points straight up. I mean, going back to this slide, if you get a PhD, you get 6 points straight up. The irony is you can't, even though you've got the job offer, you still can't apply straight away for residency if you've got 6 points straight up. You've actually got to work for a few months, and they haven't designated how many months those are yet. I'm assuming it'll be 3 to 6 months, but we should know that in the next 2 weeks. Okay? And then you get points if your job offer requires you to be registered. Now, there's lots. I mean, clearly anything in the healthcare sector. Again, healthcare sectors, dietitians, etc. Midwives, I mean, most of this is in your healthcare sector. But, of course, plumbers, electricians, pharmacists. I mean, that's healthcare, of course. Teachers, vets, electricians, I've already said, cadastral surveyors. So if you're one of these people, you can claim the points here. And clearly, when you contact me, I'll be telling you what points you are getting in an email to you, okay? And then, of course, you've got, your architects and plumbers and gas fitters and drain layers and et cetera, which you can also claim 6 points for once, 6, 5, 4, or 3 once you are registered. Again, registration required. So there are quite a few ways to get to the 6 point minimum threshold requirement in order to lodge your residency application. And we'll be staying with you all the way. Not only will I be quoting you, of course, on getting you in and getting you up to speed and getting you over there, but then, of course, we don't quote you on the residency if it's 3 years away, because why pay us if it's 3 years away? But we're happy to assist you for a few $100s when you get there. And then clearly, 2 years' time, Desiree would send you a friendly email saying, right, guys, you're due for residency. This is what we charge. Would you like us to do it? Because we'll have all your file anyway, and we'll have all your documents, okay? And then, again, chief mates, this is to do with boating, of course. And then the relocation side, which is a free service. I had clients today, they wanted to take 2 of their dogs with them. They just email Rose, and Rose will get them a free quote. You might say, well, I want to fly to New Zealand at such and such a time. Rose will get you free quotes on that, et cetera, et cetera. But I wanted to end tonight, because we're just about finished, by just stating what may or may not be obvious, okay? When it comes to New Zealand specifically, because don't forget for Australia, most of you will get your visas, residency visas while you're offshore, year and a bit, and then you've got your residency visas. For New Zealand, you need the job offer, okay? Which, frankly, in my opinion, is the biggest piece of the jigsaw puzzle, is a job offer. That's why Peter and his team in New Zealand and our team in South Africa here with Tia and Liz and Rose and the team, we put a huge amount of emphasis onto getting your CVs looking right, getting, of course, your LinkedIn up and running, as Peter said properly, getting everything done for you in order to approach the job market in the correct manner. Remember, New Zealand is small. Don't blow it. Don't go sending out 25 CVs in the next 3 weeks and then come to us. If you're going to do it, you're going to engage us from the get-go, because our job search training is the best on the planet, okay? But, and it's a big but, and I've been saying this for 30 years, if you are not prepared to travel to New Zealand to find a job or go for the interviews, don't start this process. Now you're sitting there going, well, hold on, my mate got a job and, my sister didn't have to go and she got a job. Guys, I've been doing this for 30 years. 90% of my clients over those 30 years to be successful have had to be in New Zealand for face-to-face interviews. Yes, as Peter mentioned, during the COVID crisis and just after, during COVID, companies got used to using technology. So they did. And after COVID, we had an influx of jobs during COVID, because most of you don't know this, the borders opened for New Zealand in March last year for anybody earning $84,000 and above. And by the end of March, we had 27 people with job offers. By the end of April, we had 76. And as Peter said, by the end of the year, we had over 160 of our clients got job offers from the work that they did after we trained them and introduced them to the job market. However, no one can guarantee you a job. There's a company out there that promises jobs. No matter what position you're in, they promise to find you work. Do you know who's giving the consult at the time? A non-licensed advisor. So they're going to promise everything in the world to you, because why? They probably want to make their paycheck and their commission check. So let's be blunt here. I tell every one of you that you need to be prepared to travel to New Zealand to go to face-to-face interviews. And if you're not prepared, I'm saying to you, you shouldn't start this process, because you could be sitting here for the next 6 days, 6 months, or 6 years, still looking for work over the internet, over, Seek and Trade Me and Indeed and all this, etc. And you're going to get frustrated as hell if you haven't found a job in 1, 2, or 3 months. So mentally prepare yourself to put a line in the sand. You're going to draw that line because you're the team captains here. You drive this boat. We work for you. And say to yourselves, if I haven't found a job by such and such a time, then I will do a visitor's visa, which will allow me to go to New Zealand to look for work. And if you're applying to go to New Zealand to look for work, you've got to tell them that's what you're doing. So it's a visitor's visa with specific purpose. So there's a lot more documentation required than just going on a genuine holiday. Okay? And if you're going on a holiday, you're going on a holiday. But if you're going on a holiday and then you find a job offer and then you apply for work, immigration, you're leaving yourself open for a decline, because it's a character issue. They'll look at your arrival card and say, well, hold on, you told us you were coming on holiday. So you are leaving yourself open for a negative outcome. All right? May not, may happen, may not. But why would you leave yourself open? So tell them up front, I'm coming to look for work, and this is what I'm coming for. Okay? And if you're going to look for work and you're married with 3 children, you're not all 5 of you hopping on the same plane. One of you's going. And I know you might not like that, but this is the start of the rest of your life. So if you've got to suffer a little bit in the, over the next 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, in order to establish the solid foundations for the rest of your life, then so be it. Okay? Because you're not moving, suburbs here. You're moving countries. And that, they do say that divorce and moving are 2 of the things, of course, that would stress you out more than anything. So as Peter mentioned, we are here for you. We're here to hold your hands. We're here to support you. I'm extremely proud of the work that we do as a team. This is just basic stages. This is specifically talking about New Zealand, of course. Because we take it seriously, every one of you has got a different scenario. Every one of you has different family structures, have different ages, have everything. And we take that into cognizance, and we work with you through the process until you are literally living and working in your country of choice. All we ever ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is to treat us with the respect we treat you. Okay? We take this extremely seriously. This is your life we're mucking around with here, and that is major to us. As major to us as it is to you. And I can tell you that some of the comments we get from our clients through this process, and once we've completed it, just make our hearts glow, because it's always nice when you get a big hearty thank you. Thank you for helping us take this journey, and thank you for helping us change our lives. And hopefully we're changing your lives for the better. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish tonight. Thank you, team. Thank you, everybody. Tia, Des, Peter, Ruan, Liz, for joining us, Chanel, for joining us tonight. As you're well aware, I love working with you guys. I'm really excited about the next few years, really, really the plans we've got. I'll talk about a few of them tomorrow morning, so I'm excited about that. But stay safe, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Thank you, team in New Zealand. Enjoy your evening. And thank you to those of you on my side of the world. Have a fantastic rest of your night. And if we do take this journey with you, we certainly look forward to working with you. And if we don't, after we've given you all the information, it's free anyway, we would wish you all the very, very best. Stay safe, everyone. Ciao.